Welcome to our webinar, which is going to begin to introduce GeoSync Go Plus. This is going to be an overview. We're real excited about this. This is a new option in our toolbox that we're going to go through and look at. So GeoSync Go Plus is something we've been working on for some time, and we're just real excited to have an opportunity to roll it out and share with you the functionality that it's going to provide. And then also, as we get further in, probably over the next 6 weeks, we'll have a series of webinars that are going to focus on GeoSync Go Plus and what it can do and how it works in a lot more detail. For this presentation, really some of the goals just in terms of the overview is this morning is we want to just introduce GeoSync Go Plus, define it a little bit about what it is, maybe how it fits into the GeoSync Go cloud, also address how it might impact your current, what you're doing currently if you're currently have an account and using GeoSync Go. We want to highlight the key features and benefits, and out of that really provide a framework where we can come in and dig in deeper with future webinars. GeoSync Go Cloud, as we keep coming back to over and over again in these presentations, is a geospatial toolbox. That's what it was designed to be. As a number of tools, you pull out the tool that you need for geospatial work that you're doing. So it includes cloud storage and account. So it's a subscription-based service. Mobile software for Windows, iOS, Android, and browsers. Desktop management software. There's tools for ArcGIS integration and productivity. There's GPS tools. And then one thing that's really important for the cloud that we offer is SQL database integration. SQL database is a really powerful tool. Many other services similar to GeoSync Go don't really offer that database integration, and we think that's a really important feature, and it's part of our commitment to providing a path for data, really thinking about closing the loop on data as providing a full solution. I guess before we introduce really GeoSync Go Plus, let's talk about what really drives us, why we created this product, what's really important to us. So our passion can be summed up in this phrase, which is everyday technology for everyday work. That's really what drives GeoSync Go Cloud. That's what drives the applications and the work that we do. Everything that we're focused in on is to try to address that, is to take everyday technology and make it available for everyday work. So when we think about that, everyday technology, we're thinking about mobile technology, phones, tablets, cloud, web, all of those things, which are really an information delivery system. Think about how you use your phone and your tablet and those devices in your daily life. It's really about having information that's mobile to take that information with you. So we're thinking about that in terms of mobile technology, but we marry it with GIS, geospatial data. That's important because we're thinking of GIS data as key location-based information. It's information that you need every day, specifically for as we get into the work. It's that location information that you need, such as addresses, facility information, photos, documents, whatever would be needed at that particular location. So everyday technology, we have GIS data, we have this really cool technology that allows us to use the cloud and phones and deliver information anywhere. So everyday technology, stuff we're using all the time. And then everyday work, which we're thinking about work there is the work that we do that's location driven, which is most all the things that go on in terms of asset management. Thinking about work orders, site investigations, inspections, preventive maintenance activities, incident and event tracking, data management and compliance. All those things are typically location driven. So our passion really is to take everyday technology and make it available for you in your everyday work. Understanding that may make GeoSync Go Plus a little easier to understand because it's organized in that way is to really solve that problem and fit into the passion that we have, and we'll continue, our development continues along those lines. So just getting into it, introducing GeoSync Go Plus, it's really the next step in the evolution of the GeoSync Go Cloud. And quite frankly, this is what you're going to begin to see is something that we would have liked to have started with 4 or 5 years ago, but we didn't do that because the technology at the time really didn't support that. Our customer base primarily is Kentucky. The status and the extent of high-speed internet, the ability to leverage the technology that was needed in an affordable way just wasn't really available back 4 or 5 years ago. So it is the next step. It's something we've been working toward for some time. So this has been in the plan and been in the works all along. It's not just a new product that we're throwing out there to generate business. It's really part of what we've set forth in our vision from the very beginning. GeoSync Go Plus, in many ways, it's kind of the best of GeoSync Go Mobile if you've used that, which is primarily a disconnected type application, and then GeoSync Go Web Maps, which we introduced back about a year ago, and many have been using, which is more just a web-based, browser-based map. GeoSync Go Plus kind of takes both of those and marries those together and into a new application. GeoSync Go Plus is going to become the primary user interface for GeoSync Go, and we'll talk a little bit more about that. So the focal point of using GeoSync Go Cloud and the toolbox in there is going to become more and more GeoSync Go Plus will be that primary user interface. GeoSync Go Plus is web-based, so you have access to fully interactive maps. We eliminate a lot of that where we're having to cache data, sync data, and have this disconnected environment. We actually can have a very interactive live experience, which is something that we all want and have wanted to have for some time, and now we really have the ability to put that in play. One of the other things, if you've been a GeoSync Go Cloud user, the GeoSync Go Plus doesn't require any manual processing or publishing. There's no syncing. You get real-time updates, which is very nice. We're eliminating a number of steps out of the process. It's certainly much more streamlined and user-friendly, and again, a much more interactive experience. So if we look at where we've been, there's been two primary interfaces for using GeoSync Go Cloud. There's GeoSync Go Mobile, which has been our primary field tool. It's an app for Apple and Android and Windows. We can use to capture data and view and link media, take our maps into the field, all those things. It's primarily a disconnected application. And then on the desktop software, which is our manager, is where all our tools have been in place in terms of design our forms and publish data, process data, create reports, and export data. Both of these pieces continue in play. Nothing really changes in that, but what's gone on to date is that these interact with the cloud, and the cloud really has been storage and processing and holding data in a place that we use for syncing information back and forth between mobile and desktop. GeoSync Go Plus fits in this in a different way because it is really an interface that resides in the cloud. So it's a toolbox that's actually hosted, managed, and used directly from the cloud resources. So it's a web application. It's a new app, so it not only will it work in a browser, but it also is an app that can be installed again on an iOS, Android, or Windows device. Provides web-based map designer, so some of the management capabilities, managing now goes into the web. Provides tools for us to capture and map new points. A lot of enhancements in terms of capturing new data. You still can use the same forms, so the field forms that we've been using for GeoSync Go Mobile or desktop all work the same. in GeoSync Go Plus, all the same form. You don't have to rebuild those. They certainly integrate across all three platforms. We have the ability to view and link media, and we now get a new option which provides some direct integration with Trimble GPS receivers. So if we look at that a little bit more about how this fits, GeoSync Go Plus really becomes more of that central viewing and user interface for the GeoSync Go Cloud, working on both the desktop and your mobile devices. It does require an internet connection for it to work, so it doesn't work disconnected, but it provides a really user-friendly and powerful experience in terms of being able to access and utilize your data. Some of the things that it provides, since it sits in the cloud, our report processing can become much more automatic. So as we fill out forms, we collect data, that information becomes much more of a live experience. We don't have to manually go in and work and sync data back and forth. The GeoSync Go Plus takes advantage of the SQL database that's in the cloud, so we can see that data live as information is entered and edited or submitted from either the desktop or the mobile. That information becomes live in GeoSync Go Plus, so we can see real-time updates of information. GeoSync Go Plus also, because it's hosted in the cloud and is a web-based application, we now have direct access to a lot of other data that would come from GIS servers. That's a real benefit to us, because there's a lot of really good information, usable information that's available from resources such as Kentucky DGI or FEMA, the National Weather Service, the USGS. All of those have data sets that they manage and maintain that could be helpful in our everyday work. Now, instead of having to download that data and convert that data, we now can get access to that directly and have a live link to that information. Those are things that we'll really look at as we move into additional webinars. We're going to dig deep into the types of data that you can actually use and how to set those connections up. So GeoSync Go Plus becomes the central interface. It's hosted in the cloud. It's a web interface. All of us are pretty familiar with applications that run in the browser. It's very easy to use. The desktop software becomes much more focused on, from a manager perspective, it's set up for setup, creating workflows, exporting and integrating data back to into your GIS and reporting. It's much more focused, stays in place. It has an important role, but it does have a role now that is really to provide more management functions and setup functions. GeoSync Go Mobile is also still in the mix, and it still provides an excellent application for disconnected viewing and data collection. So when you don't have access to high-speed internet, or you want a lower cost solution, you have a tablet that you don't want to have a data plan with, you still can take the data, sync it to GeoSync Go Mobile, use it in the field for viewing and collecting data, and all that information is going to come back together and be accessible from GeoSync Go Plus. One of the questions that will come up, I think, pretty quickly is how are existing accounts affected? If I'm currently a GeoSync Go Cloud user, how does this impact me? Well, one thing that we've made sure of is that there's no change to any existing workflows or applications. So everything that you're doing now will continue to work and be supported just as it is. So all those functions that you've learned how to do, and all the webinars that we've done, and all the training in that, all those functions are still there. So GeoSync Go Plus really represents something new and additional that we can take advantage of, but it doesn't necessarily replace or cause you to have to change the things that you're already doing. So GeoSync Go Plus will be an added option to all Tier 2 or above accounts. So if you have an account that's a Tier 2 or above, GeoSync Go Plus will automatically be added to your account without any additional cost. No pressure to get started. You just you implement that when you're ready. You work back with our technical staff, and when you're ready, you can begin to take advantage of GeoSync Go Plus and fit that in when you're ready to go, and in a way that makes sense. If you have a Tier 1 account, which if you have that, then you would have to upgrade your account to Tier 2 before you could get access to GeoSync Go Plus. We're going to look at some of the features. GeoSync Go Plus is now user-based. Activations are based on users instead of devices. We'll dig in a little bit more about what that means. But when you update when your account gets updated, you'll have one GeoSync Go Plus user for each current device activation that you have, so you don't have to buy additional users. So as an example, if you currently have 5 devices in your GeoSync Go account, then you would have 5 devices. You'd still have those 5 devices for GeoSync Go Mobile, but you would also have 5 GeoSync Go Plus users. The idea is GeoSync Go Plus is a new addition to GeoSync Go Cloud, and if you have an account, it's going to be added in and it becomes available for you to use. But you still can continue to do everything you're doing today without interruption. So let's go through and look at a few of the features. We're just going to highlight some of the features and changes that we're going to see in GeoSync Go Plus. One of the features that we have is now GeoSync Go Plus allows us to use a web interface to help manage and deploy maps and projects for mobile use. That's really nice because it's a web-based interface. That means I'm not locked into my desktop computer to be able to manage those projects and users and maps that I'm deploying. So wherever I can log in, even if I'm logging in on my phone, I have the ability to go in and update and manage and redeploy projects, users, and data sets for use in the field. A lot more flexibility and a lot more user-friendly in terms of setting up maps and projects for use in the field. I've already mentioned that GeoSync Go Plus is user-based instead of device-based. So in this case, you can, from the management tools, the web management tools, you can add and manage users. If you have an account that has you have access to 5 users, then you can set up 5 users and have those users active at any given time. Users can have projects assigned to them with certain privileges, which is nice. A group of users, you have somebody targeted towards sanitary sewer, somebody targeted towards water, someone targeted towards natural gas, then those users can be assigned projects that are focused on the work that they do, and then also users can have privileges on whether they can actually collect data, add data, link photos or not, or you can also assign privileges to allow management of the account to different users. So if you have another user and you want to allow them to go in and set up projects, you can assign that also to them for administration activities. One of the benefits of the user base is you can sign in anywhere and your projects are going to follow you, and you'll have access to your data. So as an example, if you're working with sanitary sewers and you're using your phone in the field, but you come back in the office, you can go to a desktop, sign into a browser on that desktop, and all of your maps and your information will follow you there, and you'll have access to it. Wherever you are when you sign in, your projects will follow you. An activation in GeoSync Go Cloud going forward will include both a device and a user. So again, if you decide you have 5 devices and with 5 users right now, and you add a new user or add a new activation, you'll get both a GeoSync Go mobile device and a GeoSync Go Plus user. So activations going forward will include both, will be available for both the GeoSync Go mobile app and for GeoSync Go Plus application. Another feature GeoSync Go Plus adds is the ability to create public maps for sharing. So any map that you create can be set up and made public. The default for any maps that you make in GeoSync Go Plus is private, and that's real important because you're still using the web interface, but until you tell it to be public, no one can get to that map unless they are set up with a user. So we have the security and the control of the maps and the projects that we didn't have before with any of our web maps. But you can make any map public and share the URL, and there's no activation required for you. So if it's a public map, you have a URL, you can share that with anyone. Public maps are primarily view only, so they're designed to be viewed, not for people to collect data or to add data into your system. It's really for viewing purposes. You can generate a link to a feature or location, so this is also a nice feature. So at any time, if you were to select a manhole or a valve on the map, it's very easy to grab a link, send that link to someone by email or text, and then that when they click that link, the map will open up in a browser and zoom right directly to that feature or location that you selected. So it's much better for sharing information. You don't have to send a map and they have to find that location, or if it's an address, you can send that and the map will automatically zoom to that address. So much more friendly for sharing, much more effective in terms of being able to share the map for work processes or information processes. Your maps are protected still with a passphrase if desired, so you can create a public map, share it, but you can also add a passphrase if you want to have that level of security. So here's an example of the interface. We're looking at what a desktop interface or a large tablet, and then a smaller interface, maybe a small tablet, say a 7-inch tablet, or even your phone. You have the same type of map. The map looks the same, but the interface itself will shift around so it fits the size of the screen. One of the big changes in the interface, or really one of the big changes of GeoSync Go Plus, is the interactive level of interactive map. So features, it's much more like a desktop GIS environment. All the features are drawn with your utilities. You can select on any of the features and ID those features and have access to your attributes. Turn on GPS for navigation purposes, or if you're paired with a GPS device, you can collect data. There's always a menu option on that makes it easy for you to get to the different functions, the different capabilities, including searches and measure and finding locations. You can also turn layers on and off, which is a nice feature too. So if you've got your utilities shown on the map and you want to turn the gas lines off, you can turn those off or turn those back on. So you've got a lot more map control in the interface. A new option is also the ability to integrate with a GNSS receiver. That means we can add a GPS device that will allow us to do sub-meter, sub-foot, or centimeter accuracy mapping. That becomes a really powerful tool now. We take our maps in the field, but we can also pair that with a GPS device, such as an R1, which is a sub-meter device, or a Trimble R2, which has the ability to be either sub-meter, sub-foot, or centimeter level. When you turn the GPS on the device, then it's going to set a location, and you'll have access to that type of accuracy. So now we can take GeoSync Go Plus on a phone or a tablet, and now we can use that as a data collection interface to do our GPS mapping. So we can take what we used to do in terms of the location of facilities using GPS, and we can really integrate that tightly into the map viewing and our map application that we're using in the field. Also, because these devices, the R1 and R2, don't already come with a user interface, the cost is lower, so you get a little more value for your money in terms of getting a Bluetooth device that then could be paired with any other phone or tablet and be used in the field for both data collection and then also for navigation. That's another item that we'll be looking at. But because these devices have real-time location associated with them, then we can also use that in real time to navigate back to existing features. And that's something we've never really been able to do very effectively in the past, but it's something that we all want to do and be helpful in doing our work and improving efficiency. So let's run through a little bit on the screens and what the interface, again, looks like. So this is how you would sign in and select a project, whether you're on the desktop, whether you're on a phone or a tablet. When you load the GeoSync Go map, the GeoSync Go app, when it opens up, you enter your username and password, sign in, and you'll have a list of your projects. You select the project that you want. You can have as many projects assigned to you as you want. You open the project up. It opens the map, displays any of the layers that you need to work with, and then you're ready to go. And then you have a map. You turn the GPS on. You can begin to collect data, view data, whatever you need to do. So this is the way it would always be set up if you want to access your projects. Once you sign in on the device, it will keep you signed in for a period of time without you having to go back and continually repeat your username and password. If you sign out, then obviously the next time you come to that device, you would have to sign back in. Or if you sign in on another device, then it will sign you out from your phone. So if you sign in on your computer in the office, it's going to sign you out of your phone, and you would have to sign back in at that time. But the username, password, access to a project, and then into your map is the basic way you get into GeoSync Go Plus. To collect data is a much more streamlined process than it is in GeoSync Go Mobile. There's fewer steps. This example, we have the screen. We actually have the GPS position on. We select that particular position, and then we have a button to look at our forms. It opens up our list of forms. In this case, I want to set a new construction site at that location. I select that form. The form opens up, and we use the same form builder we did before, but it's organized in this way, so your tabs really look like this. In this case, this form has owner information, contractor information, contact information, stats, inspection info. Select the area that you want to fill out, type in the information. You have drop-down options. You can use this button to open your camera and take a picture, or you can upload photos that are stored in your gallery that you've already taken. Click the Save button, and you've generated a new report for this particular location. Because this GeoSync Go Plus has the ability to be virtually live to your data, once you save that point, if you want to set it up such, then your construction site will appear on the screen and on anybody else's screen that has access to that project in a matter of seconds. So you have a live update of your map. You don't have to go back and do a lot of syncing and republishing in order to be able to see the features. If you're collecting data in the field using GeoSync Go Plus, a person in the office or a manager in the office could see real-time results as those points are mapped or inspections are done, or any other maintenance activity that you're tracking. Those will update virtually in real time. We look at something new, which is the GPS integration. There is a GPS status option, and then on your phone, if you now have an option to go out to Bluetooth and connect to a Trimble GNSS receiver if it's available. and then from there you get access to all the statistics associated with that device. In this particular case, we're looking at the type of correction, the horizontal accuracy, how many satellites you're tracking. Once you turn this on and begin to use that, then as you collect data, these statistics or these items will also be stored or can be stored with any of the features that you collect in the field. So let's do a review really of the GeoSync Go Plus features that we've looked at and some of the benefits associated with GeoSync Go Plus. The first one is it's going to become the primary GeoSync Go Cloud user interface. So as we go forward, you're going to want to be using GeoSync Go Plus. It will be the interface that you'll have in the office and in the field, because it's going to provide the easiest and most real-time interactive access to your GIS data. GeoSync Go Plus can be installed as an app for on iOS devices, Android devices, and Windows. There's a web-based map designer now, so you can design your maps and deploy those from the web. You get a very interactive GIS map. You can consume new services, ArcGIS server services, and GeoServer, which are OpenGIS consortium services that are out there. A lot of options are there. You can consume those live. GeoSync Go Plus provides access to custom field forms you can view and link media. It also has a lot of improved search options. So far beyond what we're able to do in GeoSync Go Mobile or GeoSync Go Desktop, where we can only have one search option per project, we can now have an unlimited number of search options that can be deployed and set up. Dashboard reports are going to be available. That is still a feature that is still not quite there, but will be there in by the time the product is fully released. Some of your dashboard reports will be available from GeoSync Go Plus, so you don't have to drop back to the desktop software if you want to see a tabular report. You'll have access to your basic workflow data from GeoSync Go Plus, and then be able to export CSV files from that environment. So again, it being the primary user interface and not having to switch between multiple software platforms to get to your reports. There's real dating available. No syncing is required with GeoSync Go Plus. You have integration with Trimble GNSS receivers. We've moved to a user-based system, which improves security and allows for much more targeted deployment, a lot more flexibility with users as opposed to device activation. And then the ability to create and deploy public maps for sharing information is really a step above anything that we've been able to do, and I think beyond anything that any of our competitors are able to do also. It's a really, really powerful feature. And the demand on all of us to be able to, and desire to be able to share information with other agencies and with other groups or divisions within our organization is continuing to grow. So if we're thinking about improving efficiency and the ability to use this information in our work, then that's a big leap forward. That completes our overview for GeoSync Go Plus.